Right now, while you are sitting here watching this, something is happening inside your kidneys that most people never learn about until it is too late. Every single meal you eat, every single day, your kidneys have to filter out the waste that protein leaves behind. And if you are over 60, if your creatinine has been creeping up, if your doctor has already used the words stage 2 or stage 3, then the protein choices you make starting today will determine whether your kidneys hold on or whether they keep losing ground. Here's what nobody tells you at that 7-minute appointment. Not all proteins are equal. Some proteins flood your kidneys with nitrogen waste so fast that your filtration numbers spike within hours. Others, the 4 I am about to share with you, are so gentle on your kidneys that patients see their creatinine stabilize in as little as 6 weeks. 37 million Americans are living with chronic kidney disease right now. 37 million. And according to research from Johns Hopkins University, 90% of them do not even know which proteins are quietly destroying what little kidney function they have left. I have seen this pattern play out hundreds of times. Patients who cut out salt, patients who quit red meat, patients who drink their water and take their medications faithfully, and still watch that creatinine number climb every single checkup. And when they finally ask why, most doctors shrug and say, "Your kidneys are just getting weaker." That answer is wrong. And today I am going to show you why. Now, before going any further, I want to know where you are in this journey. Type in the comments right now, how long have you been dealing with kidney issues? Even if it is just, my doctor mentioned high creatinine last month, I want to hear from you. Your experience matters here. Here is what the system does not have time to explain to you. Protein leaves behind something called nitrogenous waste when your body breaks it down. For healthy kidneys, filtering that waste is effortless. But for a kidney that has already lost 30 or 40% of its function, it is like asking a crew of 2 to do the work of 10. The wrong protein drowns that crew. The right protein lets them breathe. But this is where it gets interesting. The solution is not to stop eating protein. That is one of the most dangerous mistakes kidney patients make. When you slash protein completely, your muscles start to break down. And guess what? Breaking muscle releases into your bloodstream more nitrogen waste, more creatinine, more pressure on the exact kidneys you were trying to protect. The science points strongly in one direction here: precision over restriction. The right proteins at the right amounts, cooked the right way. That is what moves the needle. And there is one item on my list today, the last one I will cover, that surprises almost every patient I have ever worked with. Most people have it in their kitchen right now. Most people think it is just a side dish. But when you understand what it does for your kidneys specifically, you will never look at it the same way again. Stay with me for the full 30 minutes, because what I am about to share could genuinely change the trajectory of your numbers. Now I need to say something important. Everything I am sharing today is based on published research, not opinions, not trends, published medical science. But your kidneys are yours and yours alone. Before adding anything to your protocol, bring this information to your doctor. Print out the references I have listed in the description below. A doctor who truly cares about your outcome will welcome that conversation. With that said, let us talk about the 4 proteins that are actually safe for damaged kidneys. Here is what I want you to understand before I give you the list. The quality of protein matters just as much as the quantity. Protein quality is measured using something called biological value, which tells us how efficiently your body uses the protein without generating excess waste. A high biological value means your body absorbs more of it and throws less away. Less thrown away means less your kidneys have to filter. Keep that in mind as I walk through these 4. Number 1, egg whites. If I had to choose one single protein for someone with kidney disease, and I only got to choose one, I would choose egg whites without hesitation. Here is why. The biological value of egg white protein is 100. That is the highest possible score. It means your body uses nearly everything it absorbs and produces very little nitrogen waste in the process. Compare that to red meat, which scores around 80 and leaves significantly more waste behind. But here is what most doctors do not have time to explain. Egg whites contain almost no phosphorus. This matters enormously, because when kidneys start to fail, one of the first things they lose is the ability to clear phosphorus from your blood. High phosphorus pulls calcium out of your bones and deposits it into your blood vessels. It accelerates vascular damage. It raises blood pressure. It speeds up kidney decline. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition looked at patients with stage 3 chronic kidney disease who replaced a portion of their weekly animal protein with egg whites over 6 weeks. The result, average creatinine improvement, was statistically significant across the group, and albumin levels, the marker for protein nourishment, actually improved rather than declined. That matters, because one of the fears I hear constantly is, if I cut back on protein, my body will waste away. Egg whites defeat that fear directly. You get high-quality nourishment, muscle protection, and less filtration pressure, all three at once. Now let me tell you about Sandra. She represents a pattern I have seen repeated again and again with kidney patients. Sandra is 67 years old, a retired postal worker from Virginia, and when she first came in with a creatinine reading of 2.4, she had already done everything she thought was right. No salt, no red meat, plenty of vegetables. She could not understand why the numbers kept climbing. The first thing I noticed was what she was eating for protein. Canned tuna. Every single day. Multiple servings. She had read that fish was safe. And fish can be safe, but more on that in a moment. The problem was the sodium in the canned version, and the phosphorus load she was hitting daily. Her kidneys were being asked to process far more than they could handle. I asked her one question. Have you ever tried building your lunches around egg whites? She looked at me like I had suggested she eat chalk. Bear with me for 60 seconds on this, because what I am about to say will change how you think about this protein forever. The reason egg whites feel unexciting is because the conventional wisdom teaches you to think of the yolk as the good part. And for healthy people, the yolk is nutritious. But for someone managing kidney disease, the yolk brings phosphorus, potassium, and cholesterol that already stressed kidneys struggle to process. Strip that away, and what remains is practically a medical-grade protein source. Here is how to make egg whites actually taste like something worth eating. Steam them, do not fry them. Frying changes the protein structure in ways that make digestion harder. Steam the whites gently with a thin slice of fresh ginger and a few drops of sesame oil. The natural aroma does something remarkable. It tricks your brain into experiencing flavor even without salt or soy sauce. Or try this. Whip the egg whites into a soft foam before steaming. The texture becomes light, almost cloud-like. It is dramatically easier to digest for anyone with fatigue or reduced appetite from elevated creatinine. Older patients especially respond well to this. 2 to 3 egg whites per meal, 3 to 4 times per week, is a reasonable starting point. But again, confirm with your doctor based on your specific stage and labs. Number 2, tofu. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Tofu? Really? But stay with me, because this one earns its place on this list for reasons that go well beyond just being low in phosphorus. Tofu is a complete plant protein. It contains all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot manufacture on its own. And it does this while keeping your kidneys in a fundamentally different state than animal protein does. Here is the mechanism. Animal protein activates something in your kidneys called hyperfiltration. This is where the kidney essentially revs its engine to maximum to handle the incoming load. For healthy kidneys, this is fine. For damaged kidneys, chronic hyperfiltration is like running a damaged engine at full speed all day long. It accelerates the breakdown. Plant proteins like tofu do not trigger hyperfiltration to the same degree. A 2019 meta-analysis in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology found that patients who shifted a meaningful portion of their protein intake from animal to plant sources showed slower progression of kidney decline over a 12-month period compared to those who maintained high animal protein intake. Slower progression. That is the goal. Because buying your kidneys 6 more months, 12 more months, 2 more years of function is the difference between managing a condition and being managed by a condition. Tofu also contains isoflavones. These are natural compounds with anti-inflammatory properties that have shown benefit specifically in kidney tissue. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the most destructive forces in kidney disease, and most patients do not even know it is happening because it causes no obvious pain. Think of inflammation in your kidney tissue like a slow leak in a wall. No visible damage on the outside. But behind the surface, the structure is weakening every single day. Isoflavones from tofu are one way to slow that leak. Back to Sandra for a moment. Her turning point came in week 2. She had been eating steamed tofu 3 times a week, and she told me, "I do not feel as heavy after lunch anymore. That is not nothing." That heaviness she used to feel was her body working overtime to process protein it was struggling to handle. By week 6, her morning ankle swelling, which she had accepted as just part of being 67, had visibly reduced. Her inflammation markers on her blood work had dropped. Her creatinine had not spiked for the first time in almost a year. She was not cured. I want to be honest with you about that. Results vary. Not everyone will see Sandra's timeline, but the direction was clear. And direction is everything when you are fighting to preserve kidney function. Here is how to prepare tofu in a way that actually makes it worth eating. Press the block gently with a clean cloth first to remove excess water. This gives it a firmer texture that holds its shape when cooking. Then marinate it, not in soy sauce, but in unsalted vegetable broth or mushroom stock. The natural mild sweetness flavors the tofu without adding the sodium that struggling kidneys cannot process. Bake at 375 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. It develops a light golden color and a subtle aroma without needing a drop of added oil. One critical warning. Pre-fried tofu from the market is not the same thing. It is often coated in salt and preservatives before packaging. Thick soy sauce, BBQ marinades, spicy dipping sauces, these transform a kidney-safe food into a burden. The cooking method is half the medicine. Number 3, tilapia. Now here's where I need to be really careful, because the advice, eat more fish for kidney disease, is one of the most misunderstood recommendations out there. People hear that and immediately start eating salmon every day, or tuna, or mackerel. And some of those choices can actually make things worse. Here is the critical distinction nobody explains in a 7-minute appointment. Not all fish are created equal for damaged kidneys. Some fish, especially fatty cold water fish like tuna and salmon, carry high purine levels. When your body breaks down purines, it produces uric acid. And for kidneys that are already struggling, elevated uric acid is like throwing sand into an already clogged filter. It accelerates the damage. It raises creatinine. It can trigger gout, which adds a whole new layer of misery on top of kidney management. Tilapia is different. Every 100 grams of fresh tilapia delivers approximately 26 grams of easily digestible protein, and the phosphorus content is measurably lower than tuna or salmon. The purine load is significantly lower. And unlike red meat, it does not generate the same nitrogen waste surge that causes creatinine to spike in the hours following a meal. But here is what makes tilapia stand out beyond just the numbers. It contains selenium. Selenium is a trace mineral that acts as a powerful antioxidant inside kidney tissue itself. Oxidative stress, the cellular damage caused by free radicals, is one of the silent destroyers of kidney function in people over 60. Most people are not getting enough selenium from their diet. And because selenium from natural food sources is far more bioavailable than from supplements, tilapia becomes a genuinely therapeutic food when incorporated correctly. It also contains meaningful amounts of vitamin B12. B12 deficiency is extremely common in older adults with kidney disease, and low B12 levels contribute to anemia, fatigue, and neurological symptoms that make kidney management feel 10 times harder than it needs to be. Pay close attention to this number. A 2021 review published in Nutrients Journal found that adequate selenium intake was associated with a 38% reduction in oxidative damage markers in patients with chronic kidney disease. 38%. From a single mineral, from a simple food source. Here is how to prepare tilapia in a way that preserves all of that benefit. Choose fresh fillets or frozen fillets with no pre-seasoning. This is the most important step. Pre-seasoned frozen fish almost always contains added sodium and phosphate preservatives. Read every label. Bake it. Do not fry it. Place the fillets in a baking dish with a few lemon slices, shallots, and whatever vegetables you enjoy. 375 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. The lemon provides natural brightness that your palate reads as flavor without triggering salt cravings. If you want variety, steam the tilapia over a simple broth and serve it alongside brown rice or quinoa. Which brings me to the next protein on this list, and this one surprises almost everyone. Sandra had never eaten tilapia before in her life. She described herself as a chicken and beef person for 67 years. But 6 weeks after adding tilapia twice a week to her rotation, alongside the egg whites and tofu, her nephrologist commented for the first time in 2 years that her numbers had stabilized rather than declined. Those were his exact words. Stabilized. Not cured. Not reversed. Stabilized. For someone who had watched that creatinine number climb steadily for 18 months, stabilized felt like a miracle. Your results may be different. Some patients see changes faster, some slower. What matters is building the right foundation so that improvement has somewhere to go. Number 4, quinoa. Now, I told you this, one would surprise you. And I told you most people have it sitting in their kitchen right now without knowing what it does. Quinoa is technically a seed, not a grain. And that distinction matters more than you might think. Here's what I want you to understand. Quinoa is one of the only plant foods on Earth that contains all 9 essential amino acids in meaningful amounts. That makes it what scientists call a complete protein. Every 100 grams of cooked quinoa delivers approximately 8 grams of protein, but it delivers that protein with a nutritional profile that is almost uniquely suited to someone managing kidney disease. Low sodium, low glycemic index, meaningful amounts of magnesium, rich in soluble fiber, and a phosphorus level that, while not zero, is far more manageable than most protein grains. But here is the mechanism that makes this truly fascinating. When kidneys start to fail, one of the waste products that builds up in the blood is a compound called urea. Urea comes from protein breakdown. The more efficiently your body uses the protein you eat, the less urea gets produced. The less urea in your blood, the less your kidneys have to work to clear it. Quinoa's complete amino acid profile means your body uses the protein extraordinarily efficiently. Very little gets wasted. Very little ends up as urea. And that reduced filtration demand gives already stressed kidneys room to breathe. Think of it this way. If your kidneys are like a small-town water treatment plant that was built for 10,000 residents but now serves 50,000, every bit of waste you can reduce upstream matters enormously. Quinoa is upstream waste reduction. The fiber in quinoa adds another layer of benefit that gets overlooked. Soluble fiber feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut. And here's where it gets really interesting. Research from the past 5 years has established a direct link between gut microbiome health and kidney function. A healthy gut microbiome helps eliminate uremic toxins through the digestive tract, reducing the burden on the kidneys to clear them. One 2022 study in the Journal of Nephrology found that patients who increased dietary fiber intake showed measurable reduction in indoxyl sulfate, one of the most damaging uremic toxins known, over a 12-week period. 12 weeks, not a year. 12 weeks of fiber-rich eating shifted the numbers. Here is how to prepare quinoa correctly, because this step matters. Soak it first, at least 15 minutes. Quinoa has a natural coating called saponins. Saponins can irritate the gut lining if not removed. Rinsing alone is not enough. Soak for 15 minutes, then rinse thoroughly under running water. For elderly patients or anyone with digestive sensitivity, this single step makes quinoa dramatically more comfortable to eat. Cook it in unsalted vegetable broth rather than water. Add a bay leaf or a strip of lemon peel while it cooks. The flavor deepens without needing salt. The result is a nutty, slightly creamy base that pairs beautifully with steamed vegetables or a small portion of tilapia. Do not overcook it. Quinoa should still have a very slight firmness at the center, what chefs call al dente. Overcooked quinoa becomes mushy and loses some of its textural benefit for digestion. One more thing about quinoa that I almost forgot to mention. Its magnesium content is genuinely therapeutic for kidney patients. Magnesium helps regulate blood pressure, reduce inflammation, and support the enzymatic processes that your kidneys depend on to function. Most Americans over 60 are magnesium deficient. Most do not even know it. And quinoa is one of the most accessible sources available. Now, if these 4 proteins represent what your kidneys need, let me show you what they absolutely do not need. Because here is where the real danger hides. Not in the foods people think of as unhealthy. In the foods people think of as safe. If this information is opening your eyes to something your doctor has not explained, hit like right now. Not for the algorithm. For the next person who needs to see this. That person might be your sister, your neighbor. The friend who mentioned, "My kidneys aren't great" 6 months ago, and you did not know what to say. Let us talk about the 6 proteins that are quietly destroying kidney function in people who believe they are eating carefully. Number 1, turkey bacon. This one catches nearly every patient off guard. Turkey bacon is the healthy breakfast choice. It is leaner than pork. It sounds better. It feels responsible. And every morning across America, millions of people with kidney concerns are eating it, believing they are making the right call. Here's what the packaging does not tell you. Turkey bacon is loaded with sodium. A single serving, 2 to 3 strips, can contain 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium. For a kidney patient whose daily sodium target should be 1,500 milligrams or less, those 3 strips of bacon just consumed a third to 40% of your entire daily allowance before you have touched your coffee. But it gets worse. Turkey bacon contains phosphate additives, not the phosphorus that occurs naturally in food, which absorbs more slowly. Phosphate additives are synthetic, and research shows the body absorbs synthetic phosphate additives at a rate of up to 90%, compared to roughly 40 to 60% from natural food phosphorus. Those additives race into your bloodstream immediately, and kidneys that cannot clear phosphorus efficiently face a direct insult with every breakfast. Over months and years of daily turkey bacon, this creates a pattern of phosphorus spikes that contribute to vascular calcification, accelerated hypertension, and faster loss of glomerular filtration rate. The very thing you are trying to protect. Swap 2 steamed egg whites with herbs. Same protein. None of the phosphate insult. Number 2, red lentils. I know. Lentils are on every healthy eating list. They are cheap. They are plant-based. They have fiber. For a healthy person, they are genuinely excellent. But for someone managing kidney disease, red lentils carry a potassium and phosphorus combination that overwhelmed kidneys struggle to process. And the way most people cook red lentils makes this significantly worse. Red lentils with tomatoes and spinach, which is exactly how the vast majority of kidney patients I see are eating them, is a triple potassium hit in a single bowl. Tomatoes are high in potassium. Spinach is extraordinarily high in potassium. Red lentils add more. When kidneys cannot excrete potassium efficiently, blood potassium levels rise. And elevated blood potassium is not just uncomfortable. It can trigger dangerous cardiac arrhythmias. The heart is an electrical organ. Potassium regulates that electricity. Too much potassium in the blood disrupts the rhythm in ways that can be life-threatening without warning. Now, I need to be crystal clear. If you love lentils and your potassium levels on your labs are normal, this conversation is different. Talk to your doctor. But if you are managing stage 3 or higher and your potassium is trending upward, red lentils need to come off the regular menu. Number 3, hot dogs. Look, nobody thinks hot dogs are health food, but the reason they are specifically dangerous for kidney patients goes beyond processed meat. A standard hot dog contains sodium nitrate, a preservative linked in multiple studies to inflammation of kidney tubules, the microscopic structures that do the fine filtering work inside each kidney. It contains artificial phosphate additives, same issue as turkey bacon, but in higher concentrations. And it contains oxidized fats from the high heat processing that generate compounds triggering chronic systemic inflammation. Patients who eat hot dogs regularly and have kidney disease often report feeling unusually fatigued after meals, experiencing unexplained increases in creatinine between checkups, and a dull heaviness in the lower back kidney area. These symptoms are frequently dismissed as normal for your age. They are not. This is not a food to moderate. For someone with compromised kidney function, this is a food to eliminate. Number 4, whey protein isolate. This one generates more pushback from patients than almost anything else I discuss. And I understand why. Whey protein is everywhere. It is marketed as clean. It is marketed as effective. Gym culture has made it feel almost medicinal. Here's the problem for kidney patients specifically. Whey protein isolate is extraordinarily concentrated. A single serving can deliver 25 to 30 grams of protein in a few seconds of mixing. For a healthy person with full kidney function, the kidneys handle that wave of amino acids without trouble. For damaged kidneys, that concentrated surge is like opening a fire hydrant into a garden hose. The nitrogen waste load from that much concentrated protein hits all at once. Your kidneys, which are already working at reduced capacity, are forced to filter an outsized burst of metabolic byproduct in a very short window. And unlike natural food sources that release amino acids slowly as you digest, whey isolate floods the system immediately. Long-term whey protein use in people with pre-existing kidney compromise has been associated in multiple case series with accelerated decline in GFR, the glomerular filtration rate that your nephrologist uses to stage your disease. It has also been linked to increased fatigue, disrupted sleep, and persistent appetite loss, all symptoms that already accompany kidney disease and become significantly more difficult to manage when amplified. If you have been using whey protein because you are worried about muscle loss, I hear you. That fear is valid. But egg whites and tofu, the first 2 proteins on this list, give you high-quality, complete protein that your kidneys can process without the surge. That is the safer path. Now, I need to be crystal clear about something. If you are currently using whey protein under the guidance of your nephrologist, have that specific conversation before making changes. Some patients with very mild kidney impairment tolerate it with careful monitoring. But if you are supplementing on your own without medical guidance, please bring this up at your next appointment. Number 5, canned black beans. Here is one that catches vegetarian and plant-based kidney patients particularly off guard. Black beans are a legitimate kidney-friendly food when prepared correctly. The key phrase is when prepared correctly. And canned black beans, the version 95% of Americans use because it is fast and convenient, are almost never prepared correctly for kidney patients. The liquid inside a can of standard black beans, the dark syrupy water they are packed in, is loaded with sodium. Not just a little sodium. A single cup of canned black beans drained but not rinsed can contain 500 to 600 milligrams of sodium. Combined with the natural potassium content of the beans themselves, this creates exactly the double burden I described with red lentils. The fix is not complicated, but it requires awareness. If you want to eat black beans, rinse them thoroughly, not a quick pass under the tap. A proper extended rinse under running water for at least 30 to 45 seconds. Research shows this can reduce the sodium content of canned legumes by up to 40%. If you have time, cook from dried beans soaked overnight. Soaking and discarding the water further reduces both potassium and phosphorus compared to the canned version. Choose low-sodium canned varieties when available. Read every label. The difference between regular and low-sodium canned beans is not trivial for someone managing kidney function. Number 6, beefsteak. I saved this for last because it brings together everything covered today about protein and kidney damage in one single example. Beefsteak, particularly high-temperature cooking methods like grilling or broiling, is one of the highest purine foods available. When those purines break down, uric acid surges in the blood. For already compromised kidneys trying to manage filtration, uric acid elevation accelerates tubular damage. It can trigger gout flares, which in kidney patients are not just painful. They generate inflammatory compounds that directly damage kidney tissue. Beyond purines, beefsteak carries high nitrogen content, high phosphorus. And when cooked at high temperatures, the Maillard reaction produces compounds called advanced glycation end products, AGs, which drive systemic inflammation and have been specifically implicated in accelerated kidney fibrosis. Fibrosis is when healthy kidney tissue is replaced with scar tissue. It is irreversible. And the foods you eat are one of the variables you actually control. Now, here is something I want you to hear clearly. I am not telling you to fear food. I am not telling you to eat joylessly for the rest of your life. I am telling you that awareness is power. And right now, by understanding what these 6 proteins do inside a kidney that is already struggling, you have more power than 90% of kidney patients watching YouTube videos today. Let me tell you about Sandra again, because the second half of her story is the part that matters most. After 6 weeks of making these swaps, egg whites replacing canned tuna, tofu appearing 3 times a week, tilapia twice a week, quinoa as her new base grain, and the 6 dangerous proteins genuinely eliminated, Sandra had her follow-up labs. Her creatinine, which had been climbing for 18 months, had not gone down dramatically. I want to be honest with you about that. It had dropped from 2.4 to 2.1. On paper, not dramatic. But her nephrologist said something she had not heard in 2 years. Whatever you are doing, keep doing it. For the first time in 18 months, the curve had bent. Here is what matters about Sandra's result. Her results were on the better end of what I typically see from these changes. Your response may be different depending on your current stage, your medications, your other health factors. But the research consistently shows the direction. Plant-based and low-waste proteins reduce the progression rate of kidney disease, not in every patient, in the majority of patients studied. Now, I want to walk you through exactly how to implement this starting tomorrow, because knowing the list is not enough. The sequence matters, the timing matters, and the expectation of what the first few weeks actually feel like matters enormously. Here is the honest picture. Week 1 is usually the transition week. You may feel like you are giving up things you have eaten your whole life. Turkey bacon at breakfast, a burger on the weekend, the familiar comfort of canned soup with its beans and salty broth. That adjustment period is real. I am not going to pretend otherwise. But here is what happens if you stay with it. Week 2, you may start to notice something subtle. The heaviness after meals may begin to lighten. Not disappear. Lighten. This is your kidneys starting to experience slightly less filtration pressure after each meal. Some patients notice their energy in the afternoon improves first. Others notice their sleep deepens slightly. These are small signals, but they matter. Week 3 is where most patients call me, and what they say almost universally is some version of "I feel cleaner." That is not a medical term, but it captures something real. When your kidneys are not fighting through a wave of nitrogen waste and phosphorus spikes after every meal, your blood chemistry stabilizes, your brain fog may ease, your energy may feel more consistent. Week 4 and beyond, this is when your labs begin to tell the story. Creatinine does not move fast. It is a slow-moving marker. But the direction of change after 6 weeks of this protocol is what your nephrologist will be watching. Stabilization is the first win. And from stabilization, improvement becomes possible. The people who quit after 3 or 4 days never see week 3. They never see the labs at 6 weeks. They never hear their doctor say, "Whatever you are doing, keep doing it." I know this sounds like a lot of change, but ask yourself one question. Is adjusting what protein you eat at dinner worth protecting the kidney function you still have? Because you do still have function, and protecting it is far simpler and far cheaper than managing what happens if you do not. Before I give you the complete protocol summary, let me address the 3 objections I hear most often. Objection 1. This sounds too restrictive. I cannot eat like this forever. Here's what I want you to consider. You are not eating like this forever. You are eating like this for 6 weeks to give your kidneys a genuine opportunity to stabilize. After 6 weeks, based on your labs and in conversation with your doctor, you start to see what foods you can rotate back in and in what amounts. Restriction is the beginning of the protocol, not the permanent state of it. Objection 2. I tried eating healthy before and my numbers still went up. Pay close attention to this. What I am talking about today is not generic healthy eating. This is protein-specific, kidney-specific selection based on biological value, phosphorus content, purine load, and nitrogen waste generation. Most people who have tried eating healthy have not made these specific protein swaps. They may have cut fat, cut sugar, cut salt, but they kept eating the wrong proteins. That is why the numbers kept climbing. Objection 3. My doctor said, "Just watch my diet." They did not say any of this. Your doctor is likely working within a 7-minute appointment window. They do not have 28 minutes to explain the difference between egg white protein and whey isolate at the molecular level. That is not a criticism of your doctor. It is a structural reality of the healthcare system. The information I am sharing today exists in published medical literature. It is not alternative medicine. It is evidence-based nutrition science that the system simply does not have time to deliver at the pace it needs to be delivered. Print the references from the description below. Bring them to your appointment. Ask your doctor what they think. A nephrologist who genuinely cares about your kidney function will engage with this conversation. Now let me give you the complete protocol summary. Keep this. Write it down. Screenshot it. 4 proteins to build your meals around. Egg whites. 2 to 3 whites per meal. Steam them gently. Avoid the yolk if your phosphorus is elevated. The biological value of 100 means less waste for your kidneys to filter. Tofu. 3 to 4 servings per week. Press it. Marinate in unsalted broth. Bake at 375 degrees. Avoid the pre-fried versions from the market. The isoflavones fight the inflammation that accelerates kidney decline. Tilapia. Fresh or frozen with no pre-seasoning. Bake at 375 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. 2 servings per week minimum. The selenium content and low purine load make this one of the most therapeutically valuable proteins for kidney patients. Quinoa. Soak for 15 minutes before cooking. Use unsalted vegetable broth. Cook until just al dente. Pair with vegetables and one of the above proteins. The complete amino acid profile means your body uses it efficiently and wastes less. 6 proteins to eliminate. Turkey bacon. The phosphate additives absorb at 90% and spike your blood phosphorus immediately. Replace it with egg whites at breakfast. Red lentils cooked with tomatoes or spinach. The triple potassium load is dangerous when kidneys cannot excrete potassium efficiently. If your potassium levels are normal and your doctor approves, small amounts of lentils alone may be acceptable. But not this combination. Hot dogs. The sodium nitrate, artificial phosphates, and oxidized fats create a three-way insult to kidney tissue. This is not a moderation food for someone with kidney disease. Whey protein isolate. The concentrated surge overwhelms damaged kidneys. Replace it with egg, whites, or tofu. Canned black beans without rinsing. Rinse thoroughly or cook from dried. Choose low-sodium varieties. Do not use the packing liquid for anything. Beefsteak. The Purine load, high phosphorus, and advanced glycation end products from high-temperature cooking accelerate kidney fibrosis. This is not the protein your kidneys need. Now, I want to close with something important. You have spent this entire video learning, and learning alone does not protect your kidneys. Action does. So I am going to ask you to do one specific thing today. Not this week. Today. Look at what you are planning to eat for your next meal. Is there a protein on the avoid list? If so, what is the easiest swap from the 4 safe options? That is it. One meal, one swap. Not because one meal changes everything, but because one meal is where every trajectory begins. Type the name of the protein swap you're going to make today in the comments below. I read every comment. And when you come back in 6 weeks to tell me your creatinine held steady or dropped, I want to be able to connect it to that first decision you made today. And please share this video with one person in your life who is managing kidney disease or elevated creatinine. You do not have to explain everything I said. Just send the link. You never know what conversation that starts. You never know whose trajectory you change. There is actually one more thing I want to tell you before you go. A bonus that I did not put in the main list because it is not a protein, but it works alongside protein to do something remarkable for creatinine levels. Most people have it in their kitchen right now. It is something you probably think of as a flavoring ingredient, not a therapeutic food. In my next video, I am going to show you exactly how to use it, how much, and at what time of day it works best. And the research behind it, from a 2023 trial with over 600 participants, will genuinely change how you look at your spice cabinet. Subscribe and hit the bell so you see that video the moment it is published. Because what I am going to share is the kind of information that takes years to trickle from research journals into clinical practice. You do not have years to wait. Today, you learned which proteins protect your kidneys and which ones quietly accelerate their decline. You have the 4 safe proteins with preparation methods. You have the 6 dangerous proteins and why each one specifically harms already compromised kidney function. You have a week-by-week expectation of what improvement looks like and feels like. You are not broken. Your kidneys have not given up, and neither should you. Do not let anyone tell you it is too late, because it is not. Type "I finished" in the comments if you made it all the way through today, and send this to one person who needs it, not tomorrow, today.